Audio Jungle.
When making a decision about retrofitting a building, you need to understand what is the probability, the likelihood of my building, being subjected to a large earthquake. So the United States Geological Survey put this graph together to help cities, homeowners, apartment owners, everyone make that kind of decision, because we need to know the probability of a large earthquake, again, to make that decision. So what this graph tells us is the time span between the big earthquakes. So between 1134 and 1317, it was 183 years. And by the way they figured this out is they went to the Hayward Fault, they dug lots of trenches, and when they dug the trenches, they could tell, when the big earthquakes were, and the distance between the times. So then if we come over here, 1317 to 1475, we have 158 years. Then over here we have 153 years, and then 97 and 142. And right now, between now and 1868, which was the time of the last big one, it's 154 years. So if you look at this one, this 154 years is greater than this one. So we've exceeded this distance, this time span right here. We've exceeded this time span right here. We've exceeded this time span right here. We're almost on par with this time span right here, and this one is a little bit longer. So that's why, we're really pushing the maximum time span between large earthquakes historically. And this is just something that we really need to know, because, looking at this graph, the probability of a large earthquake occurring in my lifetime and in your lifetime is quite high. Here is a study made by the Association of Bay Area Governments, where they looked at the housing stock here in the San Francisco Bay Area to figure out how many people are going to be displaced. And at the same time, they had to look at the housing stock to see what kind of damage there would be, because that defined how many people would be displaced. And multifamily dwellings, as you have, are part of that. So look at this report and see what it has to say about multifamily dwellings and earthquake damage. So right here we see that it's for Alameda County, and we come down here and we see that there will be a total of 82,563 dwellings. So that means, apartments, houses, everything. However, you come down here and look at this is what's really shocking, is 37% of Alameda County's multifamily housing stock will be deemed uninhabitable. So that's pretty significant. That's a huge segment of the housing stock. And the reason these cities, including Albany, Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco, they're aware of this statistic, and they're trying to protect the public. They're trying to protect you, they're trying to protect the public, they're trying to protect everybody, because this problem with the multifamily housing stock is so significant that there's a big need to prepare for it. At the same time, I'm sure as apartment owners, you're concerned about the people who live in your homes. And 204,497 people, and those include the people who live in your buildings, are going to be displaced. And this could all be prevented by a good seismic retrofit. When I was working for the Federal Emergency Management Agency after the 1989 earthquake, I had to document damage, and I also had to talk to people who had lost their homes. And this right here, this tent city, you would have to call it, it was there for a couple months. So when people are displaced like that, it really puts them to a major inconvenience.